What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with Guitar Control here, and today we're going to talk about taking some basic chords and then going beyond them by extending them with some single note runs that you can leave and come back really quick. It's kind of like a cool maybe introduction to getting out of just these open chords and then maybe playing some more intricate stuff into the fretboard. So make sure you click the link below because I'm going to tab out exactly what we're doing here. We're going to take 3 chords in a progression. Very, very common progression you see all the time. And then we're going to start just kind of adding single notes in very repeatable ways that is going to make a lot of sense and just have you rocking out and jamming all over the place. So a quick example of what it's going to sound like is going to be this. Okay, so you probably recognized a few of the chords that we started using. We start off with a G, then we go to a C, then A minor, and back to a G. Okay, so a lot of these things are going to be specific to these actual chords, but they're going to be movable, which we're going to talk about later. All right, we're going to focus in on just this G major chord right here. All right, a couple different ways to play it. I'm playing it 3rd fret on the low E string, 2nd fret on the A string, open D, open G, open B, and then 3 on the high E string. You can play it with 3B and 3E if you want, or even just 3B on the top there, okay? The important thing to remember is that we're playing a G, a B, and a D note combined. It's a triad, it's a 3-note chord, all right? So, anytime you can locate those notes all over the fretboard, you can add that to this chord, maybe extend it in a different way. Okay, like for instance, this first one we're gonna do is gonna sound like this. Alright, we're going to do a little bit of a lead line run, maybe if you want to look at that, and we're going to add it to the G major chord and come back to it, alright? So the way I'm playing it, I'm striking the root note of the chord, which is a G, and then I'm going root, down, up, down, alright? So that's going to be the beginning of my strumming pattern, and then I'm going to launch into this little sequence here, and this is actually just any sequence that you can do over a major chord that starts on the root note of the chord you're in. It's very, it's like an arpeggio, an arpeggiated way of playing this. An arpeggio is when you play a chord one note at a time. You can do that through a chord shape like this. Okay, or you can do it single notes like that. All right, so the latter is kind of what we're going to focus on right now. We're going to start with that G note, but now we're going to transfer it to your pointer finger. Okay, we're going to go 3, 5, 7. You can use whichever fingers you want, whichever makes it easier, but I think this is actually the most efficient way to do it. So pointer finger 3E, ring finger 5E. Even if you can't make that reach without moving, just jump like that. And then slide from 5 to 7 with that same finger. The reason we want to do this instead of maybe going like hunting and pecking for these notes with your pointer finger is because after this we have to get to the 5th fret and the A string. So when you do this, slide, it lines your pointer finger up nicely with the 5th fret of the A string. Okay, so there's the chord. Alright, just like that. In fact, this right here, back and forth, is a great way to really drill this shape into your head. Any major chord you can do this on, just locate the root note, but we're going to add 2 more notes. A little bit of hot sauce there, some sliding, right? So after we finish the first 4 notes of that run, you'll see that your ring finger is lined up with the 7th fret, okay? Now I'm going to go to the D string, slide from 7 to 9, and then come back to my pointer finger on 7. Now these notes right here are a B. You can octave down, find out this is a B, and this is an A. Okay, so even though that A note isn't in the G major triad, like we said before, it actually fits really nicely, and it actually kind of leads us back to that chord, because if we're going backwards, B, A, the next note in that scale is going to be a G, which leads us to where we started. So we can start with a G chord into this little run here, back to the chord. You can even kind of take that last part and slide back into position. Kind of sounds cool. Dragging that note back with us. It kind of adds a little bit of a glue to some of these chords by transitioning between them with these slides. You'll see a lot of players do that. Really, it's something you can do as slow as you want. G chord into the arpeggio run. If you want to look at it as an arpeggio, you don't really have to. You can just see it as a riff off of G. And eventually, you can kind of really smoothly play it. And then also too, you don't even have to continue this specific one. This is really just about teaching you the location of the notes. So you can maybe just stop if you just like those first four. If you're good, you're like, Sean, I'm good. I'm so good right there. Just play around with these few notes. It's really just about making these connections between the single notes in a chord and the actual chord. So now let's take it to the next chord. C major. All right? Now really that exact same thing is going to work right there, but we're going to go one note beyond it, okay? So we're going to start with the C major chord, ring finger 3A, middle finger 2D, open G, pointer finger 1B, and I'm going to slide my ring finger from 3 all the way to 7, okay? Which is kind of the same interval, the same distance as that first one you did on the G, but since I'm in this position already, I'm just going to take my ring finger and slide it right here. Add a few notes after that, okay? So after we slide, and again, remember when we did that other one, just like this, we can do the same shape as the first one, like that, but instead I want to vary it a little bit. So let's start here. We're going to slide to 7A with your ring finger, 5D with your pointer finger. And again, that slide, using those fingers is really great because it lines up the next note. Alright, so 7A, 5D, 7D, back to 5D, and to C. Just like that. You can really just drill that part if you already have the C major down. You notice that I'm hammering on. It's really just 5 to 7 with your ring finger, hammer on, and then come back off of it. Alright, just like that. Now we're going to combine those together. So G, C. Now the next one in the progression is going to be A minor. Alright, we're going to do a little bit on the higher strings, okay? A minor. Also a triad, a 3-note chord. The notes are A, C, and E. Now the cool thing about this is your pinky is kind of free to really maybe add different notes here. We're going to use your pinky, get your pinky in the game, to go from 3B to 5B, okay? And then just like before, you'll notice when I slide my pinky like that, it lines up my other fingers. That 2 fret interval, that distance right there, is something that's really important in guitar playing, a whole step, okay? So we're just gonna do kind of the same rhythm as the other ones, but different notes. So I'm sliding from 3 to 5B, 3E, back to 5B, 5, 3, B. Remember to get that tab in that link below because it's really easy to see. And then just drill it. And then eventually you can combine all 3 chords together. And actually, let's make it a 4-spot progression with these 3 chords. So it'll be like G, C, A, G. Okay? So the first chord is G. Maybe do it twice. Variation on the first one. again, it's not about just memorizing these specific riffs or licks or arpeggios, however you want to look at it. It's just about seeing what is available to you and what's going to sound good over a specific chord. Getting your hand to move in a way that is setting up the next note. Because a lot of times, I remember when I was first starting out and I started maybe doing something and I was aware that these 4 notes would go well with a minor, I would get myself into trouble by using my pointer finger too much, and then I'd be here and it's like, well crap, now I gotta, you know, move around a little bit, and then it's, you know, it's easy to kind of slip out of time. That's why using different fingers, even if it's uncomfortable getting your, you know, pinky in the game or even your middle finger sometimes, you know, is super, super helpful in the long run because you can stay in time more. Your hand will just kind of naturally make the proper decisions once you start getting all your digits in the game. So really, it's just something to start being aware of, and how you can start adding these over any root note. You know, we could be in the key of A, and if you know that the 5th fret on the low E string is an A, you can do the exact same thing with all of these notes that kind of just add on top of a chord. So I think these extensions are something that you might want to start looking to when you're playing. And if you have any questions, hit us up in the comments. Also, make sure to check out some of the other videos because we touch on this subject a lot, other stuff that maybe you didn't even know that you needed to learn about from myself and other great instructors. So make sure to click around the Guitar Control channel and definitely always hit us up with your feedback. Let us know what you liked, didn't like, what you want to see more of, and tell us some of your favorite chord extensions and what chords to use them over. So until then, I will talk to you next time. Thanks a lot.